Hi guys, thanks for coming to our webinar, How to Prep for Fall. My name is Twee.
My name is Aaron, and let's get started.
So can you guys hear us okay? Anybody in the chat? Any affirmations? Oh, yes, okay, perfect.
Cool. Okay, so let's start with tabling. So, what is tabling, right? So, tabling is basically like your 3D advertisement for your club. That's like, so you could actually recruit new members and provide a way to really get yourselves out there and really make your club stand out.
So moving on. So the basics, right? So whenever you're tabling, there's a couple things that you should know if you're going to be tabling to people. So what is Circle K International? So Aaron, what is Circle K International? Mm,
Oh, I was muted, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Um, so Circle K is the largest collegiate service organization that is student led, which follows its three tenets of leadership, fellowship, and service.
hmm Yeah, so that's perfect. So, whenever people walk up to you, they're like, "Oh, what is Circle K International?" Some of them might be like, "Oh, isn't that like a gas station?" Or "Is this related to like Kiwanis or Key Club?" So definitely want to know what our club is about. And second, what does your club have to offer, right? So, every club in Circle K or every Circle K at every college offers different things. So, let's say, for instance, at Sac State, we have this awesome weekly. We have two weekly events, actually, service events. We have our St. Philomene's Soup Kitchen, where we help serve food to people who need it. And we also have Kiwanis Family House Work Days, where we work with the Kiwanis Family House very closely, helping them clean up, beautify, help out in any way that we can. And that's two things that I feel like is very special to our club. And then another thing is what is unique about your, oops, can you go back one slide, please? And then what is unique about your club compared to others on campus? So of course you never want to make it seem like, oh, your club is better than other service organizations on campus or anything like that. You just want to say oh, what makes your club stand out from other clubs? So what's awesome about Circle K is that it's great that you can join and there are no requirements. If you want to reach certain goals like platinum, gold, silver, and whatnot, then you can. But also what's great is that nobody's going to judge you if you only want to attend service events, you only want to attend leadership events, or you only want to attend socials. Everything is up for grabs, and it's really awesome that Circle K is able to offer that to students, especially since it can be quite tiresome being part of a club, but Circle K is so free, you can put in as much time or as little time as you want. So moving on.
So, what can you do to appear more approachable? So, one thing, there's like a lot of things that you can really do, but we can start with by just taking the initiative by approaching people. You could see wherever you do your tabling, you see people walking by. So take the initiative to approach new people, meet new people, even if they don't have interest in joining. It's always a great way to start just by meeting new people or just saying hi.
Mhm.
And as more attention starts coming to your table, you get a lot more people coming along with that attention.
Mhm.
And next, you have to make sure you know your stuff, right? You can't really just table and not know like the answers to those questions that we did in the past slide. So make sure that you sort of study about the things you need to know for tabling. And then you have to have good posture and attitude because when you're there, whether you're sitting or standing, if they people see your attitude, see your see like how your attitude looks like through your face, your body language, and can tell if you're really not engaged. So you just have to make sure that you can make sure that you could appear like appear confident and know what you're doing. And lastly, you should change up your elevator pitch every so often so that it's not like the same stuff you could hear from other clubs or same things that like you like so it doesn't get dry or repetitive as
Mhm.
like everything else that you may hear around. And because there's going to be so many tables saying so many things trying to attract new members.
Right. And also on top of that, for elevator speeches, so of course you want to have like a 10 to 15-second spiel that you want to have ready. Also, like you can change it up based on the people that come up to you. So sometimes like you might be saying like, hey, are you interested in community service? Or are you interested in fellowship? Or are you interested in making friends? Like you can always change it up so that it doesn't seem like you're just spouting the same thing over and over. And so like maybe like people come up to you like, hey, what do you like to do? And they'll be like, oh, I like to play Smash Bros. And I'm like, awesome. Our club on campus offers like an annual Smash tournament that you can be part of in Circle K. So like that's a great way for you to join in, or they could be like, oh, I like to eat, or like we love to go eat, we love to socialize and stuff like that. And like maybe they'll be like, oh, I'm into sports. I'm like, awesome. We have like gym socials or we do badminton socials or something like that. So you always want to change it up and make it like you want to alter it to the person so that it's more interesting to them and that there's something for them that they can grab onto, like that we can offer. So then moving on, we have our next slide. Fun tips. So some really fun tips to make your club look more exciting and like just as awesome as you guys think it is. You want to display posters or you want to display your Circle K merch or your banner. I know some clubs, they actually do like a shirt blanket. So like a quote blanket, it's like all of their shirts and everything sewed together and then they put it on their table. So it makes it look really cool. And so like if you guys can see, we have our past secretary from Saxe Circle. He's like holding a sign that says, "New semester got you nervous? Come and join us for some service." So it's like super cute and really catches your attention and it's like, oh, like that's nice. Like I want to go approach them. Another thing you can do is you can offer free swag or spin the wheel. You guys might have seen this on campus at other clubs where they'll like have a spin the wheel and it could be like, oh, you can win like candy or you can win like some cool Circle K international pens. So you can definitely offer those kinds of things. Next, maybe you can play some exciting music. So you can, play some bops, some certified bangers and everything. You just want to make sure that it's not too loud. You want to make sure that they can actually hear you while you're speaking. Next thing, you can add snacks. Like I said, you can offer candy. And you want to make sure that this is also okay with your school. So if your school allows you to have food on campus, that's awesome. Some of them may not. So like you want to make sure you want to check in with that and not break any rules. And then lastly, you want to utilize your super cute flyer. So for Saxe Circle K, I speak, like this is just from my experience, like on the front, we have like our club with a cute little image, like it'll just say Circle K International Sacramento State. And then on the back side, we'll have all of our Welcome Week events. So that's a good way to just get the word out. On to the next slide, we have social media. So this one is like super integral, like makes people like feel really related to the club. And so like they can really get a feel for what your club has to offer.
So when it comes to social media, you should definitely try doing social media challenges as it's a fun way to really get your club out there and really advertise your club while doing so. So some things you could do is make a post and hold a raffle with some cool prizes. Like on Facebook, you can have a post where you have anyone who likes and shares the post can be put into the raffle to win those prizes. Or you could do something like on Instagram where you could say like take a picture with our cardboard cutout and use our hashtags like Pierre over here is doing this picture.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So just repeating how this really gets your club out there and it actually can attract a lot of new members as every time you do so. And it really promotes a fun way to have your club be out there. Like everyone's going to enjoy this while participating in it. Everyone has a fair chance at winning the raffle. Moving on.
Mm-hmm. So next we have like mini interviews. So like this would be like a great way, like if you want to put out like an intro video at like your first general meeting, you want to like record clips of like your members about like what they think about the club, and then you can post them like, like on a YouTube channel or like on your Facebook page. And like you can ask like really good intro questions, like what made you want to join Circle K? Like what is your favorite thing about Circle K, and what's your favorite event? And those things like really bring people in, because you'll see that people will be very passionate. They'll be like, oh, I really love this service event called Operation Backpack, where we like put a bunch of supplies into our backpack and provide it to students who can't afford them. It's like so fun. We get to do it all together. And then people are like, ooh, like what is that event, Operation Backpack? I want to know what that is. So like when they see that other members are excited about it, they also want to join in. So there's a really good way to really pull people in for that. And then on to the next slide.
So as you table, you should really showcase the 3 tenets, where you provide like images of your club doing service or leadership or even the fellowship aspects, where you can really show how your members can enjoy each one of the 3 tenets. So in the next slide. So finding fun service events is something that can really show one of the most important aspects of our club, as we do focus a lot on service. So if you find when you're finding your service events, really look for ones that are a lot of fun, that can really engage your members, as like animals may do for some people, like say dogs, right? A lot of people love dogs, so a lot of your members would really love to go to those events. Or you could do color runs, as they're fun and exciting, where you just gotta run around and there's a lot of color everywhere, or working with children, or even fun tabletop service that they could actually help fundraise for different organizations around that really need the fundraising. On the next slide.
So next, our another tenet is leadership. Sorry, display of leadership. So you can host some workshops. So a couple examples like that you could do.
So you could just, for displaying leadership, you can host a lot of fun workshops or you can have open invitations to your board meetings. So through these workshops, you can really do things whether it pertains to something that your club needs or wants. So one thing that at UC Davis, our past president, Tiffany Huang, really liked to do was fortune telling, as that's something that she was capable of doing. So that's something that a lot of people heard about, and a lot of people just really got interested in it. Always wanted to like find out, like, say, how many children they're gonna have, or how many marriages will they go through. And then you can go through other workshops like school things or city things, where you find bucket lists, or you could do some how to's, or do just like some actual Circle K related workshops as well, where you could like teach surfing and MRS stuff, but that's more later on stuff. And for opening board meetings, that actually can show how the club operates within its leadership. So because transparency shows how open your club is, and how your leadership really works. Because when general members are able to see how their leadership operates, they can really get more of a feel of who they have guiding them, and who else is in their club. Really, it's like they're not just like some closed off group that just does this, leads you, does whatever they want.
Mhm.
The next slide.
So next, our third tenet, which is fellowship. So you can host really big socials. Like, for example, you can do escape rooms, which are super fun. And then you can go to get ice cream. You can do like campus scavenger hunts. So that can be like very related. Like, oh, you can get to know the campus, especially for new members. Like, it's a good way for like people who are more experienced in their 4th or 5th year. And they,
Are you there?
can you hear me? Ah, hello? Hello? Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello.
Right, technical difficulties.
Ah.
Um, so for hosting big socials, you can
Aaron.
do a lot of varieties of social activities. It can range from things like escape rooms, going to get food, doing some like exploration with like scavenger hunts or sports. And throughout that wide variety is something that also can engage and really refocus um, the general members and even board members. So through hosting these big socials, you can attract a lot of people as it does take or as it does like as if it were in public and people see a big group, they'll be curious about like what's going on over here. So a lot of people might go over and kind of crowd around and see what's happening, depending on what kind of activities are happening. As like say you go to like the quad in your school and you could be having your sports day. So people can get curious and by doing that, it's also another way to advertise if it's like in public. But in doing so, you can really take your club and bond with one another. So when I like how a lot of the clubs in Circle K really get close knit and socials really help build that.
And so next we also have soft general meetings. So usually that's happening during the first week of your school when you don't have official meetings yet. This is just to send out a feeler. And usually you don't invite the newer members to come. And so this is just a way to like get everybody pumped up, like, oh, we're gonna have our first general meeting coming up. You know, you can take it outdoors. You can have like a really fun game of like sardines and stuff like that. So that will be really fun.
And
You
then
can
when it
also
comes to soft general meetings, sorry about that. Um, you could really you could really take it outdoors and have it at a local park.
And then you can also have like post meeting socials. So usually people you do it at food because you're really hungry. You have like late night meetings and everything. So it's really great. And then next you can also collab with other clubs on campus. What you can do is you can do with other service organizations, or you can even do with organizations that aren't related to you. You can do it with like a med like frat or something like that, or you can do it with like an anime society. Like anybody that is interested in joining with you, you could totally do, and it's always great to have good campus relations. So now on to the next slide.
Oh, so be sure to be an active and friendly club because when new members come around, definitely having things to do is something that really keeps their motivation in wanting to like be involved, stay, and even increase, and as well as the inclusiveness of your club because when members don't really get involved with other members, it's hard to really want to stay active as there won't be as many reasons to really to want to stay around. So when you're inclusive, you can really involve everyone and have everyone want to like continue together. So having that friendly aspect in your club with a very positive vibe can really help out in keeping members retained while having a lot of fun with everyone else. And lastly, to keep an open mind as everyone has different ideas and have different needs to attend to. So, say like someone is starting to become falling inactive, like don't assume that they are don't assume that they are like don't like they have a bad feeling about the club or something because there's always something going on in someone's life. So just be sure to keep that open mind and make sure that you aren't really assuming what is happening and what isn't happening.
So now we have our Q&A. If you guys have any questions, please put in the comments and we'll answer it right away. So just let me know, what do you guys think? Anything about tabling, about welcome week? We welcome all sorts of questions. Does anybody have any questions about anything or Circle K? I'll give you guys like maybe like 30 seconds, and if not, we can move on. Wow, thank you guys. Thank you. I'm doing good. I had my second day of school, so thank you for asking, Selena. Second question from John Brummer. John Brummer, hi, hi, miss you so much. So do you have giveaways? Yes, in our club we do have giveaways. For this semester, what we're doing is we have like a jelly bean guessing contest that we have on top of our table, and then people will have to guess the amount of jelly beans are in there, and then if they come to our first general meeting and if they guess the closest to the exact number, we give them like a free Sac State merch. So that's super awesome. And that's just one of the giveaways that we do. You can also do social media ones like we said before, like using a hashtag or anything related to that. Next, from Luna, tabling can be so scary. Any tips on how to step out of your comfort zone and reach out to new members? Yes, so tabling can definitely be scary. Tip number one for me is I would say that like don't be afraid of rejection. You are going to have like 8 out of 10 people always ignore you. They're gonna walk by you. They're not even gonna give you a response or even make eye contact with you. So yes, that can be like quite like but one way for you to be like, it's just like, oh, this I'm used, like, just kind of like get used to it. Like, there's no harm done. They just think, they're on off to class or something like that. Another thing you do is like you want to pair up. So like let's say for instance, if you're an officer and you're tabling, pair up with another officer that's there. So let's say for instance, you have your officer friend pull in somebody like, hey, do you want to join Circle K? They come in, and once they talk, then you can start off with the second conversation, like, hi, like, nice to meet you. My name is this, and stuff like that. So that can be a really good way for you to reach out. Another thing you can do is you can just wait for people to make eye contact with you. You don't have to like call out to them if you're really like feel anxious about it. If they make eye contact, you're like, yeah, I got it. You just like look at them like, hey, and then if you say hey, they're gonna be like, hey, and then it's like, oh, now we started a conversation. So I think that's a good way for you to like make tabling not so scary and not so anxious. Next, we have a question that says, what are some good hooks? So what are some good hooks? I would say that like a really good thing that's always worked for me is like, hey, do you like to make friends? And then some people will be like, no, I don't like to make friends. And it's like, okay, it's chill, no big deal. But most of the time, people will positively react and be like, yes, I do like to make friends. So I think that's a good way to do some good hooks. Aaron, what do you think are some good hooks?
Some good hooks that I like are like some funny ones, or like where you can really reach out and actually make them smile while you're also while you're also hooking new people in. Like, say, like you do a joke that kind of, or you use a pun with CKI, and yeah. And for the next question, Stephanie Tran asks, how do you encourage introverts / antisocial people to come out? So one way that I think can really help with introverts or antisocial people come out is by having some of their the friends that they already have and already know, come out too. Because the more people that you know going to an event can really influence if you want to go to an event or not. So like, say like in the beginning of last term, I didn't know too many people, so it was kind of scary for me to go out and really just like step out of my comfort zone. So by having people that I knew go to events, that really helped me like build up the courage to really go out to the events. and really become more social as a person.
Yeah, so that's a great answer, Erin. And so next I have another question. It says, how many members should be at the table? It's good that lots of people want to help with tabling, but too many can look intimidating. And I would have to agree that yes, if you have like maybe too many people, some people actually will feel like, oh, they're too busy. Maybe I'll come by another time, but then they might not swing by. And so I would say like you would definitely have like a minimum of two, just like, two people keep each other company. I would say like a good number is probably about 3, 4, maybe 5, depending on how big your booth is. If you have more than one table, you want to have more than 5 people. But one table, I would say like that's good enough. And so like it's really good because like if you say like let's say you're pulling in somebody through tabling and then there another person approaches, maybe they have some questions, but you're already in the middle of like a 3-minute conversation. So then another person who's standing there to do tabling can help you with that. So I would say that's a really good way. And then next from Chase, it says, how do I approach people about the club without coming off as awkward? So definitely like we did earlier, we talked about tips like, you want to have good posture, you want to have like nice attitude, you want to be like, as nice as you can come off, just like, hi, like introduce yourself. You're like, I'm Twee and I'm from Sac State Circle K and stuff like that. And I would say that you can ask about their day or, like, oh, like, what is your major? I think a lot of people open up to when they're being asked questions about themselves. And then, of course, you never want to interrupt them. If they have a question for you, you want to answer it to them. So, Erin, do you have any other tips on how to not come off as awkward?
To not for coming not off or not coming off as awkward, I think sometimes like being awkward is sometimes like the best way to come out, or like not come out, but like to really build on your awkwardness if there ever is any. Like, because it really shows who you are and that or when you're awkward, it's really showing that you're trying to. So when it comes to that, I think a lot of people are actually understanding when we're in Circle K. So just like don't be afraid to really be yourself, because yourself is the best self that you can be. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that's the advice I'd like to give.
Wow, very deep, very deep. All right. Is there any more questions? Any more last minute questions before we move on to wrap up this webinar? Erin, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. Well, I think for you, make references to Key Club. So John Brummer says for you should make references to Key Club. I think that's a great way as well. Like if someone is in Key Club, you could be like, oh, were you in Key Club? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, awesome. Like this is just very similar to Key Club. We're a collegiate branch. And that can make it seem like, oh, like it's more relatable to them. So I think that can also come off as less awkward. But I think we are now concluding our webinar if there are no more questions. And so if we can move on to the next slide. And so for our next slide, we have our contact information. Woo! So thank you guys for joining us in our webinar. You guys can reach us at these emails. And I've been Twee Tran, so like you can contact me at twee.circlek@gmail.com.
And I'm Aaron C, and you could email me at atse.cki@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. And also a big shout out to Amy for helping us and like doing slides for us. She will be posting up the sign up link so that we know who attended the webinar soon. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
Good night.